Welcome. It's time for another episode of To the Moon with Voxx, the place where psychic phenomena meet science and world culture. We are live from the Devil's Tower. So, here we are once again, the new moon in Leo at 16 degrees. If you are still alive, I commend you. If you haven't killed anyone, I commend you.
So
If
why is
not,
that? Why is the full moon in Leo a difficult thing?
did you say full moon or new moon?
Or I'm sorry, I said full moon. I guess I should have said new moon. Why is the new moon in Leo difficult?
Well, because of the aspects that are being created by its hard fixed square to Uranus in Taurus, which happened 2 days ago. So, what tumultuous scenario happened 2 days ago?
I don't know. What did happen?
Well, first off, one of the tips is all the sirens start going off. Then you start arguing with people regarding absolutely nothing very violently. Volcanoes blow up, you hear car wrecks, just all kinds of crazy stuff, more than usual. Leo rules the fifth house of creativity, children, gambling, romance, and Taurus rules security, money, stock market, all that stuff. So when they square, like they did a couple of days ago on the 14th, it's just really annoying. That's the nicest thing that can happen, is that you'll be annoyed. It's just really unpleasant. So yeah, the new moon in Leo, what the new moon does is it activates the next astrological cycle for that month. So, astrologers or people that are into mystical, metaphysical ideas, they know that whatever they are doing on that day, it will come up for the rest of the entire month, right? So like say on the new moon, you start playing games at 7 a.m. and you play it all day. 9 out of 10 times, you're going to be in that kind of mode for the rest of the month. You'll notice
That's
it.
interesting. So what if you're studying something? You think you'll stay in that study mindset as well?
Yes, you will. And I'm going to give you an example of that. I study Enochian magic, which was created by Sir John Dee and Edward Kelly back in the 1500s. And I had been studying it circuitously for many years, many years. And one day, it was the new moon. I did not make a conscious decision, but I had been collecting an Enochian library for like 30 years. I cracked open one book and I noticed all the errors in it. I compared it to another book and found the errors in that book. By the time the day was done, I had gone through pretty much an encyclopedia, compared each entry of like 156 different angels against one another. It started my total Enochian journey, which I'd kind of just been dabbling to a certain degree, but all of a sudden, boom, there I was. And many years later, every single night of my life, I am doing Enochian magic. And I don't feel like I need to hide that whatsoever, because it's such a positive thing. But I had no real idea that I was doing that. But when I looked back in my records, I found out that I started it on the new moon in Pisces, which rules, mystical subjects, magical subjects, all that kind of stuff. And I was just blown away later on when I realized, wow, that really is true.
Yeah. I was going to ask you if that was a coincidence, but you answered my question before I asked it. Yeah, so it's finding out after the fact. How did that happen? How did it stick so well? And so it stuck so well, if I'm understanding you, because you started this effort underneath a new moon aspect
Yes.
in a sign that's particularly geared towards promoting that type of effort as well, a metaphysical one, a spiritual one.
Absolutely. And the weird thing was, it was not a premeditated action, nor was it a premeditated thought. All of a sudden, I created all the jewelry, I created all the talismans, I cracked open every single book that I had, which was everyone that's ever been written, and I was like on fire, and it never stopped. And one good thing that I could share with the listeners, especially into magic or any form of mysticism or study, is what Crowley talked about, keeping a magical record. And what that is you notate the day, the time, the planetary hour, the planetary aspects, the tattva hours, and the tattva tides, and you delineate that at the top part of your journal. And then you write down, what did I eat? What did I do? Here, what was the purpose of the ritual or meditation? How the whole thing went, and then how it wound up, and what exact time you stopped. So, say you have a negative experience a couple of days after the ritual that you did, and you go back and you look at your records, and you realize you were doing a Venus ritual in the hour of Saturn. Not good. you know, and people can think I'm crazy. I really don't care, but these are the things that happen. And so once you start paying attention to the tides and the vortexes and the doors, then your magic's going to transform, and stuff that you actually want to accomplish in your life actually starts manifesting through just mental awareness. You get to a point in magic that all you have to do is think magically, and the things that you need or want just magically appear in your life.
Yeah, I guess as you do it more and more, and I guess you go through things, and then in hindsight, you can look at the pattern and you can identify how things worked out the way that they did. But I guess as you do that more and more, instead of approaching these things with hindsight, you can start approaching them with foresight and paying attention to the aspects now to get the anticipated outcome that you want, as opposed to accidentally finding out later.
Oh, yeah.
You're right. Yeah, I think there's something to be said for
exactly.
that.
No, you're saying it exactly right. I got to share this, one of my most favorite pentagram stories of all time.
Okay.
And I had just joined one of my magical groups at the time, and I decided to do what's called the lesser banishing ritual of the pentagram. And that's where the magician stands in the east and he calls upon the four angels of the cardinal directions to bless and protect him, and the divine energies above and below.
Can I see if I remember these four angels?
Yeah.
It's Samael, the angel of the south, Gabriel, the angel of the east, Azrael, the angel of the west, and I don't know the north.
Well, you're wrong.
I thought that was it. Okay. Damn it, I said it with such confidence, too. Isn't that? Wasn't that? Remember when we talked about Samael being the southern tip of the...
Well, he's one version of that. But in the pentagram ritual, the lesser pentagram ritual, and even the greater pentagram ritual, how they go, the east is Raphael, the god, the archangel that rules the east. And then, so say you're facing the northeast or the east, however it is. Ordinarily, you're facing the east. And as soon as you move a quarter of the way to the right, you'll be facing south. And that particular angel is Michael. And then you make another right-hand turn in the circle, another quarter part of the circle, and you're facing west, and that's Gabriel. And then you turn again, another quarter, and that you'll be facing the north, and that is Ariel. Then you turn back around to the front, and you've done the four pentagrams, and they're for blessing. They're not satanic whatsoever. And you're intoning ancient Hebrew archangelic names. So, hello.
Yeah.
And I would definitely, especially for you goth kids out there, please leave Azrael alone. He'll come in. Just leave him the
Just
fuck
don't.
alone.
I know death is cool and trendy, but let's just leave Azrael alone. Please.
Just leave him out of the mix. He's so tired of having his name pop up. And
He's
then
like some fat angel on a veranda somewhere in Italy and just can't stop calling his name. He's just like, shut the fuck up.
He's like, motherfucker, leave me alone.
And poor Ariel, nobody ever calls on him. He's actually got something good to say.
Yeah, Ariel is actually one of the other names of the east wind, Ariel. So yeah, he's like over invoked for no damn good reason.
Because death is trendy and cool. Depression is fun for a lot of people. They get roped into this whole, nihilistic perspective. And then if you're metaphysically inclined in any way, you're going to gravitate towards the, quote, darker angels. I know.
You don't want to piss off Azrael anyways, because he's coming for your ass sooner or later.
Yeah, you've got a date with Azrael. You just don't know when it is.
Oh my God, this got to be a t-shirt.
Yeah.
Blind, what, or
Blind.
TV show. Blind date with Azrael.
Wait, if I remember correctly, isn't Raphael a Mercury? Doesn't Mercury have something to do with Raphael?
Yes, he does.
Okay,
Yes,
so I
he
remember
does.
the painting that you did. It was mostly orange. He carried a caduceus. I remember his wing. I think that was Raphael.
Yeah, you're correct.
Yeah, I remember that. That was
Absolutely.
kind of cool. It always stuck with me. Now I have a face to put to the name.
Yeah, and I created a bunch of these archangelic paintings. I have Levanael, and the weird thing is, maybe some artists out there will recognize this. A lot of times, you'll paint something or draw something, and that person will show up in your life. It's weird. My painting of Levanael looked just like my last boyfriend, like to the T. It was bizarre. Thank God they were all hot angels. never, never paint an ugly angel, they'll show up.
Let me ask you about this. Yeah, and this has really got me thinking pretty hard right now. So I noticed that when we speak about Goetia magic in our bonus episode, you spent about an hour speaking about the angels, which was nice. Um, and they have the same names as the angels that you're invoking with the pentagram. So these are angels of the Jewish pantheon. What do I name them? What pantheon are they a part of?
They're in their own pantheon.
But that seems to be universal. So in other words, the Azrael that we're talking about in the pentagram ritual is the same as the Azrael in a Goetia ritual, correct?
No, no.
Oh,
Azrael's actually from ancient Torah and Talmudic Hebrew tradition. He's the god of death. And he's also equated with the scapegoat, which is very Christ-like kind of energy. In ancient times, the Jews and some other different religions would put all of their sins onto this one goat, and they would name him Azrael, and they would chase him off a cliff, and they would thus, like a sin eater, and they would drive him off the cliff and kill him, thus absolving everyone else from their sins, because they put it somewhere else and then they destroyed it.
well, that's convenient. You know about the Judas Goat, right?
Yeah, that's the same thing.
But okay, you know that the Judas Goat is what they're doing in the Galapagos Islands. Is what I'm
No,
saying.
no,
Okay, I have
no.
a story for you. So, goats were brought onto the Galapagos Islands some time ago, 100 years ago or so, and they multiply like crazy and they eat everything. And so the unfortunate thing that is happening, and this is true, this is I don't know if it's still a current event, but it was definitely in the last 10 years. So the
Right,
goats are multiplying like crazy, and you just can't hunt them all. They multiply like rabbits do. They eat all the grass, they eat all the vegetation, they eat literally everything. And the problem is they're eating the vegetation that the tortoises eat. And so since they're out competing the tortoises, and the tortoises are starving to death. And these tortoises are hundreds of years old, right?
right.
So whoever they is, the Galapagos Authority, I don't know who the hell they are, but whoever they is, came up with this idea that since you can only kill the goats that are out in the wild, you don't know where they're hiding when they're hiding. The goats know that they're being hunted, so they actively hide. And it's just a
Right.
cat and mouse game that nobody can win against the goat. And so
As
they
usual.
right. So what somebody came up with the idea of creating a Judas goat, which is they would trank one goat and put a tagging collar on him, and then they would let him go home. And when he went home with the other goats, they would track him to that point, and then they would wipe out all the goats in that area. The Judas goat.
Mhm.
And
I see.
so
Or the Hitler goat.
no, but really, and so this is apparently highly effective and saved the tortoises on the Galapagos. This is absolutely true.
Well,
So
speaking of the goat is a symbol of Capricorn. And have you ever seen a picture of a goat climbing down a mountain?
hell yeah, and goats are legit climbers, man. They've lived the
Yeah.
climb.
But they're not as famous walking down the mountain as they are climbing up.
Well, they do it sideways. They have to.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. That's my point. Circuitously, they don't just go down a mountain. But the funny thing is, a lot of this is based in ancient witchcraft lore, the kiss of the goat, which is kissing the behind of the goat,
What?
because the goat is always ahead of you, above you. It's kind of interesting. They always reach the top of the mountain.
Yeah.
They say there. Now, here's the other cool thing. They have done autopsies on goats and found like metallic license plates, cans. I mean, whatever lurks, a goat can and will eat it, and which gives them a great stomach. All right. And what's funny, Capricorn is the opposite of Cancer, the
Hmm.
crab. And Cancer rules the stomach. And
Hmm.
they're very soft and very kind of mushy and very sensitive temperament. But man, those goats, the opposite sign, just toss them a car battery. It's like they'll eat it. So that's kind of interesting that they got, snuck up on in the Judas Goat. But yeah, it makes perfect sense to me. And tortai, as we should call them, tortai. Yeah, they move so damn slow anyway.
Well, wait. The question unfolds. So, Capricorn, ruling. Or am I correct in my terminology of ruling the goat or governs the goat? How do I say that?
The goat is the symbol of Capricorn.
Okay, understood. Okay, so I might be thinking this might be a wrong-headed way to phrase the question, but then I was going to ask. Well, I would assume that every sign has an animal associated with it, and that would make me wonder what the hell is Aquarius? A hummingbird?
No, that's a good one though. Maybe we'll just do a new vote and vote for new symbols. Let's just for the benefit of newbies that might be listening to the show. So you have Aries, the ram or the sheep, okay, and Taurus is the second sign, rules the bull, not the cow for whatever reason, but the bull. The third sign is Gemini, the twins, and it's usually like human figures that are twins. Cancer is the sign of the crab, and these are all in order, just so people can learn easily. Leo is the lion. Here's where we get into some fun stuff. Virgo is the virgin, so we'll try not to laugh because the last thing of Virgo is a virgin. And the word Virgo actually is a Latin word, and the first three letters, VIR, are the Latin word for father. And I think it's really intriguing how the virgin, usurped the idea of the father. But anyway, it's still a human form and it's a maiden or virginal female. Then here's the fun part, and I think we discussed this at one point. The sign of Libra is ruled by, try not to laugh, the scales of justice. We'll try not to laugh. And I had to look 20 years to figure out what in the world. You got all of these creatures, but then boom, you've got like metallic scales. And it turns out that they did that as a form of censorship. The two sides of the scale are actually the two front claws of the scorpion. That's what they are. So that's also scorpion. So the next sign we have is a scorpion, which is Scorpio. The sign after that is Sagittarius, the centaur, half man, half horse. Then you have Capricorn, the goat. Then you have Aquarius, the water bearer. Okay. And in ancient times, it was symbolized by Ganymede, who was like the male lover of Zeus. How funny is that?
I didn't know that.
Yeah, interesting. If you ever look on the Crowley Thoth deck and you see the 17th trump, the star card, you'll see the beautiful star goddess Nuit holding a chalice. And that chalice is the chalice of Ganymede. And he was like the total party god. Him and Dionysus and Zeus.
Yeah, I was going to say Dionysus too.
Yeah, exactly. The cup and the grape and all of the wine. And so, in the particular case of Aquarius, the water bearer is someone who brings the water of healing, which is obviously wine.
Well, I mean, we're laughing, but that's absolutely true. And it's grounded in truth because in the ancient world, in antiquity, it was safer to drink beer and wine than it was water. And they didn't know why. But it turns out the fermentation process actually eliminates a lot of harmful microbes and bacteria. And so,
Absolutely.
absolutely, like it was safer to do it.
Yeah, and so that explains a few things right there.
Yeah.
Then you got the final sign, which is Pisces, the two fish going two opposite directions. And of course, if you're confused now, after you meet a Pisces, it will make perfect sense.
Yep. I'll vouch for that.
And they also are drowning in a whole vat of Jack Daniels somewhere in the zodiac.
Yeah, there's something addictive. I will speak with some authority on this. I'm a 0 degree Pisces ascendant, but I can't help but ascribe some type of addictive tendencies to Piscean energy. And I'm not saying it in a I have to abuse drugs way, as more of an escapism. Am I saying that
Yeah,
word correctly?
yeah,
It seems more of an
absolutely.
escapism element to Piscean energy, which is and Neptune rules Pisces, correct?
Correct.
So, and Neptune being, fantasy and that dream state and like, the ether and all that. So, to me, Pisces try to attain that. And the only way to do that in reality is to escape to it, which hence the substance abuse. And so I don't
Yeah.
say this heavy handedly, but I definitely associate addiction with Pisces for whatever reason. It just clicks
Well,
for me.
and see, even though you're not like a master of this kind of subject, you
No.
are absolutely correct, even in your intuitive reading of that.
Yeah, you can
Now,
feel it.
yeah, it's something that I think is interesting, which you gave me this idea in hearing you speak. Fish are considered kind of soulless and that they don't feel anything.
They don't have eyebrows. No,
Well,
but
that's a key marker right there.
yeah, it's a key marker. I mean, goats have eyebrows. You can humanize a dog. They have pretty eyebrows and eyelashes. Fish don't even blink. I don't think.
Well, no, not true. There are certain sharks that can blink.
Well,
There
that's
are
more of a
some fish.
nictitating membrane, to be fair. But okay, that's
That's
a blink.
true. That's true. I understand. However, think about this. If fish don't technically feel anything, maybe that's because they don't want to feel anything. And if they're going one direction and that direction is not working out, then they're just trying to fake it out and the other fish is, swimming in the opposite direction. At some point, though, as Einstein proved, a circle will meet its own end somewhere. We just don't know where that is.
Sure.
But Pisces rules the 12th house, and that's also called the house of self-undoing. It's like basically, you're one step away from winning the Olympics or whatever, and then you do something really stupid, like, whatever it might be, and just cause yourself to lose the race. Because there's a lot of Piscean self-doubt, and what they'll do is they'll attack themselves rather than attack someone else because their fear attacks them. So that's why it's called self-undoing. And a very like respected, amazing person could just be having this amazing life and just hate it and can't stand it and they want to get the hell out of here. Like a person that pops into my mind that was a Pisces that happened to was Kurt Cobain. Rest in peace. Love that guy. I mean, he had it all, but it doesn't matter. None of it was making him happy.
Yeah.
And he kept singing, "Oh, I don't have a gun." Liar.
Yeah.
Whoops. He had
But
a
it's
gun.
true. Like there's holes that just can't be filled, and I think that hole is necessary for somebody to put out the type of like whatever suffering and internal hurricane he had going on is what allowed him to create music that resonated with people who feel that way as well. So he was like he was necessarily a victim of his own sorrow and whatever void he had. He was necessarily a victim of that in order to create music that ironically filled other people's voids and holes,
Well, if you think about it this way, so you're like dying on a vine, your life just sucks, you want to kill everyone and yourself included, and it just has a catchy tune. Whoa.
Well, but that makes people who hear it feel better. Like again, ironically, you end up being the healer, the hurt healer,
Yeah,
And
exactly.
countless artists have done this, countless, but he's a very good example of one.
Yeah, that was really sad. I have a really weird psychic story about that. Want to hear it?
Yeah, go for
And
it.
it's a total true story. And actually, you were working with me at the time, or you had just left. So this was the morning of April 8th. I got into my car. Remember my cool magical house up in Franklin Hills, the Egyptian house? All right.
Yep.
So I got into my car. Well, I guess I have to backtrack. That night, I dreamt of Neil Young. Okay, an old favorite artist that I've always loved. And he was in front of my house on Lyric Avenue, and he was pointing at a sign. And I was like, well, what is this, And I kept staring at him. He was trying to show me this thing. And he showed me a house up on top of a hill. And he kept pointing at this house on the top of the hill. And I didn't really understand what he was saying. And he pointed to a sign, and it said Arrow Road. I thought, well, that's interesting. And I remembered it, and I wrote it down because I write all my dreams down for many years. And so I get in the car, and I turn the radio on K-Rock at the time. And the first news I heard was, Kurt Cobain has just died. And I thought, oh my God, this is just awful. But for whatever reason, I instinctively knew it was a suicide, although I can't explain how I knew that. So I kept thinking, like, how did this happen? What's going on? And why in the hell am I dreaming about Neil Young? And what is this house I dreamt about? Well, within 3 days, I found out he had committed suicide. The house that Neil Young was pointing to was Kurt Cobain's house that I had never seen, and it was up on a hill. And then I'm thinking, okay, but why Neil Young?
Yeah.
3 days later, Courtney Love came out and she read his suicide note. And he talked about, was it Rust Never Sleeps, you know? He's quoting Neil Young in his suicide letter.
Oh, that's bizarre.
And I never knew that. And then, so that happened. And then later on, a year later, Neil Young came out with a song called Sleeps with Angels, written about Kurt Cobain. And I mean, come on, I knew none of this, and none of this was published at the time. Okay. I had no idea, but I dreamt of the house, and the arrow is the symbol of the wounded healer. It's also a symbol of someone who's going or leaving quickly. And an arrow is also a weapon. And all of these things symbolically were in my dream, and it all turned out literally and was provable within 3 days. And I was just blown away by that. Very sad day.
Well, as far as spirit animals go, you could do a lot worse than Neil Young.
Yeah, yeah. Also, too, Neil Young wrote a really famous song early in his career. The song was called "Broken Arrow," and it's a sign of Indians. Broken arrow indicates peace. So there were so many layers to the symbology of that dream and how it turned out. And he also passed away on the first day of the writing of the Book of the Law, on April 8th. So I thought, wow, that's just really bizarre. Just so weird. So that's a typical Pisces story, unfortunately. That's really unfortunate.
I would think suicide would have a very Piscean energy to it as well. There's something
Yeah.
about Pisces that's so complicated and dark, and it's definitely one of my favorite signs as far as the energy that I think it represents. Because I'm into all that shit. I like depressing, sadder toned music. It resonates with me. In other words, if I hear something happy, it doesn't resonate. If I hear things in major keys, they generally don't resonate with me at all. But if I hear things on the blues scale, it absolutely will. It's music will hit you a certain way, I guess, depending on what you've experienced in your life. So that's why I think people who are in pain create music that other people who feel pain identify with it, much more so than listening to some popular like pop anthem or I don't know.
Yeah, I agree. And something that your comment inspires me to say is that the 12th house is the final zodiacal sign. And you can imagine that that's pretty much where all the stuff that's dumped from all the other signs gets dumped in the psychic dump of Pisces. And you can look at it that way,
Sure.
on that kind of energy. But yeah, it's very interesting. So some of the news and stuff that's coming through, ordinarily we won't get into politics, but I do find it interesting that somebody like Obama.
I'm sorry, I need to point this out. We say that we don't get into politics. We get into politics every single episode. Everyone. It's hilarious.
I'm basically talking about the new moon in Leo.
Sure.
And Obama is a Leo. And what was he doing? The new moon was happening in Leo. Okay.
What was he doing?
He was partying with 600 guests at a party in his zillion-dollar home in Massachusetts without a mask, and nobody was wearing a mask.
Well, they might all be vaccinated. I think the mask thing is almost passé at this point.
Well, I'm going to tell you psychically that it's not passé, and if anybody has a brain cell left, they should be wearing their mask.
Now, I mean, in society's eyes, though, not in a realist sense, but in the way that people perceive the value of wearing them, it seems to have gone down quite a bit.
Yeah, well, that's their first mistake.
Well, Delta variant's coming, man.
No, screw Delta variant. Lambda's here.
Oh, fuck Lambda. Have you tried Epsilon?
Yeah, I heard about that too. And pretty soon we'll be into Zeta.
Yeah. Yeah, what comes after that? Do they start doubling
That's
up
it.
on? I think we should name viruses like we name hurricanes, like with women names.
Then they got to do Alpha 1.
No, it has to be like we name hurricanes. It has to be after women. It has to be like, the Bailey variant.
They're just gonna have to start recycling the Greek alphabet.
Oh God.
Maybe they'll go Coptic.
Or Pig Latin.
Oh my
Oh
God.
man.
So what else is happening today? We got the moon conjunct Mercury at 23, 24 Leo. That makes for a fun show, I will say, you know.
Yeah, this is fun. I've had a good time so far.
And what else is coming up is by the time the sun and or Mercury moves forward in a few days, we're going to have it conjuncting, or excuse me, not conjuncting, we're going to have it in opposition of Jupiter retrograde at 28 degrees Aquarius. And so I'm going to make a prediction that within about 3 to 4 days, more insane headlines will be coming your way, you know. And Steph also, because Leo rules energy, and the whole idea of Aquarius is about electronics. You could imagine massive amounts of internet stuff going down or major cyber scandals. Whatever it is, it will be big and it will affect millions of people, you know?
God, I hope it's an Avril Lavigne sex tape and not something crazier like another Stuxnet. I mean, Aquarius, do me a favor. I sit here all day in front of this fucking monitor.
I guess we're going to have to use that as a tagline. I don't know. Oh, never mind. She'll probably sue us.
Oh God, whatever.
Well, that brings me to another famous Voxx story. Want to hear it?
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. In May of 2004, the headline at the time was Britney Spears, who had just had her first baby. Okay. And she was just seen stumbling around in high heels and blah, blah, blah. And one day I was reading a blog, and all I can tell you is that words raised up out of the screen, almost like they do in a 3D movie. You know how things pop out?
Yeah, no,
And
I'm following.
yeah, and somebody had written on their blog, will somebody just make the damn t-shirt already? And I started screaming with laughter. I go into the front room and I asked my boyfriend, I said, hey, you want to make, easy million? He goes, yeah, sure. I said, but we're going to get sued. Are you up for it? And he goes, yeah, let's do it. So I predicted that within 24 hours, Brittany was going to drop her baby on the concrete and it was going to be a huge disaster.
What?
And
She dropped the baby?
well, I'm getting there. So I created the website and the t-shirt. It was called SaveSeanPreston.org. I tried to get the .com, but somebody else had bought it already. So I bought SaveSeanPreston.org. I created a graphic of the Gerber baby, but looking like Britney's baby. It was all done in an army stencil, SaveSeanPreston.org. So I had a t-shirt ready for sale, and I had a website and a blog, right, within a couple of hours, because my boyfriend at the time was a pretty damn amazing graphic artist, a web designer. Yeah. So what happens? 18 hours later, there's a worldwide picture of Britney Spears drinking a cocktail with one hand, holding her baby in the left hand, and the baby is on her way from her arms to the concrete.
Oh, God.
And there's a man's hand. She had a manny, like a male nanny.
Yeah.
He caught the baby.
Oh, man.
And my blog went to the moon. I had something like 2 million hits within an hour.
Well, I don't think that she can sue you because it's parody. It's clearly parody what you're doing.
Guess what? I created a website pretending that I was the baby. And, speaking like Kevin Federline, like, yo. What's up, my homies?
What's crazy is she's back in the news cycle. Like, I don't pay attention to this shit. Even I can't avoid it.
Well, I got a fun end of that story. So one day I get a phone call from Britney's lawyer threatening to sue me, and I started laughing.
Really?
Yeah. So all they demanded was for me to stop selling the t-shirts, and so I did.
Well.
Yeah, if people, and I started a petition online to demand that Britney Spears use a stroller for her baby. I had something like 1 million signatures. I mean, I wasn't really trying to make fun of her. I was really worried about her baby, and that is the truth. I swear to God on that one. And anyway, so I still have a couple of t-shirts that I wear once in a great while. It was a huge hit, but what I'm getting at is that you can see the future and you can also do something about it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I also did radio interviews. I called myself Angel. They wanted to know what my name was. But the really interesting thing happened a few years after that. I was at a class where I was painting a really great friend's house, and they were doing some kind of like, project. And we were talking about crazy stories. And for whatever reason, I shared that story. And it turns out one of the guys who was at the party was the assistant of the lawyer trying to sue me.
Oh God, did he remember it? Did you talk to him?
Yeah, yeah. I said, well, give my love to Brittany. He goes, will do. Because they never got any money out of me. And I sold some great t-shirts. And I brought awareness to Britney Spears almost killing her baby. And I do feel bad for her right now. But I do think she needed a conservator, but she needed somebody a lot. She needed somebody who actually really cared about
Nope,
her.
nope. In fact, I'm so diametrically opposed to your opinion on this. I think that
Good.
just oh yeah, no, I think even the notion of a conservator, fuck that. Her dad wasn't out there in fucking spandex performing "Oops, I Did It Again." Fuck him, dude. That guy has no right to her money. None. I don't care how crazy she is. Let her be crazy and fucking kill herself off. That's just Darwin in effect,
Yeah.
right?
Well,
That
at the time
no,
though, it was
absolutely not.
necessary.
I'll never
Look
agree
at
with you
the
on this point. Her dad gets. God, I read that he got like $38,000 a month to do what? What is he doing? And then he's just making money off of her work.
However, I will say that she may not have been living very well for a long time, but
That's her business.
her ability to hook up with people that were vampirizing her just as bad as her dad
No,
was
her
pretty
business.
evident.
Her
Yeah,
business.
I agree, and I feel bad for her, and I hope that she wins her freedom from that person.
Oh God, this whole thing is just anathema to everything I feel about you. How it's her work, and nobody gets to fucking high-handedly fucking make some, regardless of how she's acting. Well, what the fuck? What about the other artists that are just out? What about the guy from Motley Crue that did basically shot heroin through a fire hose for 20 years? His dad wasn't his fucking conservator for his music. What about Richie Sambora? His mom wasn't his conservator. Give me a fucking break. There's people way worse than this crazy
Yeah, but
chick.
let's look at the other side. They were just making her stay alive so they could utilize her and keep making money off of her.
I hate it. I hate it so
Yeah,
much. This
hate
whole
it too.
thing.
Now let's find out why we're talking about this. Why are we psychically talking about this? The whole idea about freedom. Sagittarius rules freedom. She is a Sagittarius. Some of the top singers, also like Christina Aguilera, were also Sagittarians. And she did a very famous Sagittarian move, which is where they get their freedom taken away from them, which really sucks. But that's one of the side effects of the birthday that she's also born on.
Wait, that's interesting. I'm sorry, you just sparked my interest on something. You associated freedom as a Sagittarian energy and then said a classic
Yes.
Sagittarian response is losing it. Does that apply to other signs? So if Cancer rules the home, is a classic Cancer response losing the home?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Oh, so what's this mechanic called? So in other words, if Libra is well, is my understanding, apart from dual organs, etc., that Gemini and Libra rule, Libra has something to do with the courts and with the legal
Yes.
system. So it's a classic Libra move to
Yeah.
be at odds with the legal system.
Yes, it is.
So
Let's you want
Pisces.
should we go through the signs or not
Oh,
really?
absolutely.
All right, so Aries is about war, fighting, all that stuff. So the one thing that they get screwed with is they wind up becoming soldiers or police officers and having to deal with firearms or explosives. 9 out of 10 times.
But that's not an opposites thing. I'm taking what you're saying as an opposites thing. Like if Sagittarius rules freedom, then a classic move is to lose the freedom. So
Well,
so if
yeah.
Aries rules war, then the classic Aries move is to accidentally be peaceable.
Well, no, actually, the
You see where I'm
opposite
going
for
with it,
them.
though?
Yeah, I do. Their classic opposite move will be to, and this is a fact, you can check it out, become a game show host or a soap opera actor.
Oh God, I did not expect that.
Dude, I'm not even kidding.
You could not have said something I expected less than that.
We got to check out what sign Alex Trebek and Pat Sajak are.
Oh, I have a theory on what Alex Trebek is.
But we'll check him out in a minute. So then the Taurus is all ruled about money. And also Venus rules Taurus. So what happens to a Taurus person, if they get too consumed about money, I hate to break it to you, but they will turn into escorts and they will have sex for money. They'll do anything for money. And I mean anything, whatever threatens their money or their home or their security. Geminis, they're free floating out there. What happens to them is they also get stung with freedom issues. And that's why so many, serial killers are born under the sign of Sagittarius or Gemini, have split personalities. Really interesting. And then when you go to Cancer again, the loss of the home, right? You look at O.J. Simpson. Now check this out. O.J. Simpson was born on July 9th. So was Courtney Love, and so was Jodi Arias. All three accused of murdering their spouse when the spouse tried to get out of the relationship. You threatened to cut off that little claw of the crab, and he's going to jab your little eyes out. And all three of them got away with it.
Yeah, I can vouch for this energy, by the way. It's very accurate with Cancer, and I'm it's the consummate Cancer in so many ways. And absolutely, if I feel slighted or like I don't know how to explain it, but my reaction is way disproportionate to the slight.
Getting to Leo, it's their pride. Okay, anybody that will like make a slight or a comment about anything that denigrates them in any way, they'll rip out your heart, and the heart is ruled by Leo. Right. So whatever somebody tries to put them down or whatever, they'll go psycho on you.
Sure. Wait. I'm sorry. I have to cut in because I still have to reflect back on Cancer. When given this notion of Cancer, I think it's upsetting something that Cancerian energy thinks it possesses and it can't tolerate it. So
yeah.
Is that what it is? Is Cancer a possessive sign?
Oh yeah, like look at their little claws.
No, I guess that's why I'm asking, is I'm thinking of the claw.
Yeah. Because all of the symbols of the animals and creatures that are like talismanic images of the zodiacal signs are very appropriate. All right, crabs don't look that, scary on some level. But if you get close to one and it grabs your finger, I'm guaranteeing you it will cut your damn finger off. And you'll have to rip off the claw, and then God knows what happens.
Yeah.
So yeah, you cannot, like I will say, a Cancer person that goes bad, oh my God, move over Scorpio. Because the Cancer, remember what the crab does, it moves sideways. And that's what's creepy about it. It will never directly confront you, but it will get the last word. It will get the last laugh. And guess what? Their ego is fine. So they don't really want to be discovered, but they know with your dying last breath, you'll know who is responsible.
That's so scarily accurate. Oh God. The energy of what you're saying is so completely perfectly accurate. I understand it's just the sun energy and it can change depending on how it's aspected. I get that. But this very much sums up a very visceral undertone to my psyche. Very much so.
Oh, yeah.
As embarrassing as that is to say, it's worth acknowledging because if people are listening to this, Voxx and I have discussed at length that the sun sign is arguably one of the least important signs given how heavily afflicted or exalted it can be due to other aspects in the chart. Like there's so much more going on than where your sun is. I'm a Leo. I must be, there's more to it than that. But there's a visceral like underflow to everything that you just described perfectly about me, and you're right. Ego gets removed very quickly now, very, very quickly. And as far as sideways approaching the problem to get revenge, that's absolutely true too.
With those little damn beady eyes.
And I hate to admit it. It's 100% true.
That's what I think is one of the aspects of us working together on this, because really this isn't work. Yeah, this is not work. We decided a long time ago, about 6 years ago, that all the weird stuff that we say, other people should be privy to it.
Yeah, if you don't like it, don't listen to it. But a lot of people are going to like it because this has to occur to people.
Yeah, but guess what? We love our listeners, but we really don't care.
Yeah, fair enough.
Because guess what? We're not in this for the money. Who's paying us to do this?
Yeah, really.
Nobody. Oh, wait, or it's a Saturday night. Oh, yeah, we don't have better things to do. No, actually, we don't. We actually don't.
No, this is a worthwhile
Because
endeavor.
yeah, we want to do this, but that's the Cancer thing. Now, check this out. You said something really great, as always. Now, the moon, Mercury, Venus, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto, and pals, every one of these 10 heavenly bodies goes through all 12 signs one way or the freaking other.
Mm-hmm.
So think about moon in Cancer.
Well, and not ironically, but weirdly, this is one of my moments where I was shocked about something. I was shocked the moon was not exalted in Cancer. It made no sense to me, except when you think about it at length, when you consider that Cancer seems to seek stability and security, I guess innately, like you seek that the moon is anything but those two things.
Exactly.
She's not stable. And when I see a full moon, I say, thank you, Mother Moon. She's by far my favorite planet in the zodiac. But
Me too.
oh yeah, she's wonderful. But I
Even
never.
though, even though she's an asteroid,
Well,
don't
no,
say
this and
it,
that.
yeah.
That's an astrological symbol, or energy rather. I identify more with her changeability than I do most other things. But I see why she's not exalted in Cancer, and I see exactly why she's exalted in Taurus.
I just got a psychic bulletin. Okay, psychic bulletin. Oh, yeah, let's find out. Apparently, one of my predictions just came true for a client. Yay! No, but I can't tell you what it is. But it just came in. Okay. So anyway, let's check out the other stuff. So we have our Virgo energy. Virgo likes to control everything mentally, which is why like 99.9% of them are either writers or accountants, okay, or paralegals, okay, whatever. And the one thing that will set them off is losing control of information.
Oh, that's interesting. I always associate Virgo energy with like precision, maybe to their own detriment, I guess, is for lack of a better way to phrase it. But like absolute precision, like needle fine. He's surgical, probably is what I'm looking for.
Now check this out. You're going to love this. Very few people, I would imagine, because I haven't met them, have meditated on the first 4 letters of the word analysis, which are
Anal.
Thank you.
Oh, huh. I see.
Anal Isis.
Did you ever watch Parks and Recreation? Or no, not that. I'm sorry. The first season of Arrested Development.
No, I've missed it. I've been saving it for a rainy day.
It's very funny, and Tobias Funke or whatever, he's David Cross plays him, but he's like a therapist and an analyst or something, and he wants to do both for a living and create his own job role, and so he becomes an analrapist. Oh, I love he printed out business cards and everything, man.
So he's gonna have to be clearly the character is a Virgo.
Yeah, no, absolutely. He wears like short denim shorts. He's very funny, but when you look at it, it says anal rapist, but he's an analrapist.
Oh yeah.
It's just funny.
That's an old SNL joke when they used to have Sean Connery on, like the fake
Oh,
Sean
is it?
Connery. Yeah. He also did, the rapist, but he had a separation between the and rapist because he couldn't fit all the letters on the top line. And then he had one. It's a very favorite. Laughing. No, don't be. It's great. Then you had the famous Johnny Mathis Christmas hit, which was "Let Tits Now," which
what?
is lay tits now, let it snow. He broke it up incorrectly.
Oh, that's such a dad joke.
Hey, tits now. Okay. But yeah, that guy pretends to be Alex Trebek. No, he pretends to be Sean Connery on the SNL Jeopardy game. He's got some really great ones.
The rapist, but the words don't fit, so he has
to... Anal the rapist. No, here's what's funny about this astrologically. The part of the body that's ruled by Virgo is the colon, which is, next door neighbors with the rectum. So there.
That is weird. So, and I have Mars in Virgo. Yeah. And absolutely to be born and then have surgery on that part of my body when I was like 2 or 3 years old or however old I was, you would remember that.
That was your liver.
I know, but isn't that all part of the...
No.
Oh, who rules the liver?
The liver is ruled by different aspects. Because it's one of the Libra energies because it's cleansing and purifying the toxins from the body.
Well, I'm looking at my chart right now, trying to figure out my liver aspect. Oh, it doesn't matter. Okay, so Virgo.
Yeah, that's Virgo for you. And the other funny thing too about the accountants and the writing, Virgo rules the hand. Okay. And that's what they're always doing. They're writing and analyzing things, computer data entry. Those are the people in a really bad Shutterstock images where you have the people in the glasses, like dropping DNA into those little tiny tubes. That's a Virgo thing. That's Virgo all the way.
Okay.
And what else? So then we have Libra. Oh, and I have a friend, she would not like to hear about this, but her second house of money and security is ruled by Libra because she's a Virgo rising. What? Ever since I've known her, she's been involved in a major lawsuit.
Hmm.
She is always fighting legally, but righteously, and she does deserve every cent she's suing for. But that seems to be where most of her money comes from.
But that's interesting given what we talked about earlier with Libra involving legal aspects and that being her second house of money.
Mhm.
That's so bizarre.
Yeah, and I've commented on it several times.
Wow.
Then we have our famous Scorpio, and it's almost like just so in your face. Scorpio is about, venom, and, they're fine unless you go into their territory, but the problem is that their territory is everywhere, and they'll sting you. They seem insignificant. Okay, you got your Charles Manson famous Scorpio of the day, as always. And he didn't seem like that big of a deal. He was just some, regular guy playing a guitar, singing by the seaside in Venice somewhere, his shabby little, cute little songs. And he didn't look like a mass murderer. You know? It just doesn't strike you that way. But scorpions, like, where do scorpions like to hide? They hide in your boots. They hide in specific apparel. They're always famous for climbing up your leg and in your pants or down your shirt. They always like to get close to you where you can't get away from them. They kind of corner you. So, very unpleasant. And one sting packs a punch. You may not get a chance to get out of there. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And Scorpios are Cancer on crack.
Well, wait, why is that? Because they're what? They're erratic or
No, they're as bad as a Cancer, and they will hold a grudge till a lifetime. Okay, but they'll win. They will win.
yeah, Scorpio energy kind of I pay attention to it. But Scorpio energy seems to rule a lot of mankind's more base impulses, right? Like sex,
Yeah.
lust. Is it lust?
Yeah, the lust card. It also rules transformation. The joke about this, and you get all these newbie little pseudo New Age tarot readers, or God knows what they're calling themselves. And every time they get the death card, they go, "Oh, it looks like there is a
That
transformation
drives me
involved."
crazy.
Transformation, boom, you're dead. And one of my sisters, she goes, "Vox, you're just too brutal. You need to be nice." I'm like, "Why? Why should I be nice? You're gonna freaking die. Why don't you want me to help you avoid this?" I'm so sick of this mamby-pamby, like, new age crap.
Appeal to sensitivity. It's like a new fallacy in our time. There's
Oh my
appeal to
God.
authority, and then now there's appeal to sensitivity.
Call it what it is. Like, if a train is coming, I'm gonna yell,
Yeah,
"Train,
yeah,
train."
not hey guys, yeah, don't pussyfoot. I love that word. Don't pussyfoot around the reality of something. You know.
Yeah, that's actually the title of an album by Brian Eno, No Pussyfooting. It's a great album, but that's another Vox segue. But yeah, so Scorpios, I mean, we all know, but here's the deal. You may have any number of planets in Scorpio, and the planet that you have in Scorpio will show the approach to the scorpionic energy.
The approach to the scorpionic energy.
Yeah, so say if the moon is in Scorpio, they will like manipulate you, they'll make you think they're perfect, they'll give you the best sex you've ever had, whatever, and then they will do something really weird. I would say Moon and Scorpio energy is very Caligula-like. To do
Oof.
his chart.
I have Uranus conjunct my North Node in Scorpio. Like they're right on top of each other.
You know what that shows? That shows extreme, and I'm not kissing your ass because you'd have to pay me for that. By the way, there's not enough money for me to lie about it. But the North Node is where things become easy for you. Uranus there gives you a genetic, instantaneous brilliance and like a sharp shaft of light into the Scorpio features of darkness and things that are hidden. It's like you're one of the people that will come out and say, "Hey, Emperor, yo, your ass is hanging out." You would have been that little kid in that story. You would have been that kid. So you have the ability to like shed light on something really intense and really dark with that fast blast laser energy of Uranus, and the North Node protects you there and gives you great good luck when you follow it.
Yeah, that's
And
my
it
ninth
shows,
house too.
oh, ninth house is even more brilliant. Ninth house is publishing and reaching the masses through public word. Yeah,
Interesting.
absolutely. And my ninth house is ruled by Virgo, which is almost like dealing with the minutiae to such a degree that it brings great fame or great people showing great awareness of these tiny weird little things that I say. And that has also shown itself to be true. You know, because anybody can make a large sweeping statement. What I've learned to enjoy about what the universe shows me, what the creator has given me as an ability, is look into the little nooks and crannies where nobody else is looking and trying to find something interesting out of it.
Yeah, no,
And
historically that has been true about you. I've noticed it. And that's probably the most appealing aspect of having this uncommon body of knowledge is that the details that you end up bringing up, people give people an opportunity to have an "oh yeah" moment. Like, "Oh, that is true." Like the vow with the nail story that I've told a million times. Like that's just a
yeah,
small detail, but that was more impactful than any large statement you've ever made to me.
yeah. And then as we go through the signs again, thanks, Brittany, for bringing up this topic, which is, the loss of freedom.
Oh, now we're at Sag?
Yeah, back into Sag. So the loss of freedom, the loss of healing, feeling trapped in a stable, just like a horse, even though it's a centaur. The idea of that, both of those energies are fire energies because the centaur is ruled by Jupiter. And Jupiter was also the god who could transform himself into any shape. He was always getting laid. It was a swan, it was an egg, it was a bird, it was a plane. Whatever it was, Zeus was getting laid by that thing or being. And it's not because it was about sex. What it was trying to show is he was trying to infiltrate all species. His essence was in all things. Jupiter is the vivifying energy of Jupiter, and so he's the father of the gods. He kicked his own dad's ass out of Olympus to take over and to be the party guy is because he wanted to be a part of everything and everyone.
Well, mission accomplished.
Yeah, exactly. He almost kind of like the Greek version of Genghis Khan.
Yeah.
But yeah, they can't stand to be restrained. And then you have, Juno slash Hera, his wife, who was always busting in on his escapades, trying to make him feel bad. She was jealous that he could be in love or having a good time with someone other than her.
Hold on. Now Hera was no saint.
No, that's what I just said.
Oh, okay. Well, I meant her escapades are just as notorious, right? Didn't she? No.
No, she was always busting in the party.
Yeah, but I think she kind of did some. She did some behind the back bullshit on Zeus too.
Yeah, but it was not real. It was never really sexual.
Well, it
It was
produced a
more,
child. It produced Pandora, did it not?
no,
Who produced Pandora?
I have to look it up off the bat.
Oh no, I might be thinking Persephone. Yeah,
No,
actually.
that was Demeter slash Ceres. No,
Oh, okay. All right. Well,
yeah,
I'm outclassed on this one.
it's okay. But we'll check it out. We'll add it to the mix. But she was always just like busting in on him having a good time. So she's kind of the spoil sport of the entire zodiac. And then we have Capricorn, and Capricorn is the crack version of Virgo. It's like want to protect all the information and hide it for their own benefit against everyone else. Like that energy is like Susie Orman telling you what stocks to buy after she just unloaded them. Thanks, Suze. Love the haircut. Love the haircut. Bitch. Come
Oh
on, really.
shit.
And it's so true. And Capricorn rules the mob, rules the underbelly, the undercurrent. Those are the people that if there were the Illuminati, which I do believe that there is, but they're not called that, and you'll never know who they are. If they were that, they would be under the sign of Capricorn. And Capricorn also rules the 10th house of recognition, fame, winning. Famous Capricorn of the day would be, Richard Nixon. People manipulating information to keep themselves in power. Wonder who that could be. Any number of people right now.
Well, because the thing I'm wondering what Edward Snowden is. Born June 21st. Okay.
Well, he's a Cancer.
Yep.
And guess what he rules? Security. Of what? The homeland.
I love it.
Is that great or what?
Oh, I love it. That's so great.
I actually did his chart before. That's why I knew that I've done it,
How'd you get birth time? Oh, we have to guess at that, right?
Yeah, but you know what? You can find out. All right. The 10th house is also can indicate fall from fame or any planets between
You said fall from fame?
all from fame. 0 degrees to 4 degrees Pisces can indicate a fall from a great height.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah. I always, I've got another Voxx story about that, but we can talk about that later. But that's the Capricorn energy, like the mafia. Like they're going to rule your life even if you know it or not. That's just the way they roll. And so if they lose power, all hell's going to break loose.
Yeah.
And what they'll do, and I said we wouldn't get political. I'll try not to, but there are certain faux organizations, which I shall leave them nameless from my lips, that people are going to wake up to and see the cat food, smell the cat food, drink the cat food, whatever. You're going to understand.
This metaphor is completely lost on me. So, what do you mean, see the cat food?
Or, instead of smell the coffee.
Why cat food? That seems very arbitrary.
Yeah, and I changed it just for fun. Because everybody was talking about coffee. So, like, smell the cat food. Okay, because it's probably Purina.
I'm going to edit the shit out of that, Voxx. It's gone. Good Lord. Okay, but wait. Okay, wait. We're dealing with Capricorn energy, and then you bring up.
You bring up Edward Snowden.
Rather poetically, I might add. Wake up and smell the cat food.
Yeah, it's just like what I do. It's one of my Voxisms.
Frata Purina. Purina.
Friskies.
Have you ever seen that cat on a bag of Friskies? This is a serious question right now, and I'm leaving it in the episode.
I have. It used to be Morris the cat.
Yeah, but I don't know what the fuck that cat is now. It's like a psycho. It has like the. Do you know what? I have a theory about something. This is going to be a bizarre segue too. What I have noticed is that people convicted of pedophilia or heinous crimes, but especially pedophilia for some reason, one eye is lower than the other eye. Now hold on. You don't have to take me at my word. Go to meganslaw.com because I have tested this with I don't know how many people I've challenged to this. And by the way, more than 3, right? Who knows? Look, okay, I'm like, there's something wrong with the smile. We call it the pedosmile. Haha. Very funny.
Yeah.
But always the eyes. And if you look at Jeffrey Dahmer's mugshot, please go look at it. Feel free to Google it right now.
Are you kidding? It's emblazoned on my mind.
Same here. Imagine him being your spirit animal. But
yeah, he was a Sagittarius. I told you all the serial killers are mutable.
Mutable. But joking aside, why are their eyes always off? Like if you put a ruler between the halves of somebody's face, you can see the discrepancies in their facial symmetry. And this is kind of a fun thing you can do if you're online enough and you're me, where you can try and see that it's 2 different people and you can ascribe that to different hemispheres of their body. And I understand
Guess what? I've already done this since like the late 80s. I first discovered it in a book called Rhythms of Nature, whose author I forget. It's the first time he took a picture of a clairvoyant and he sliced the picture in half and he flipped it over and then made a Xerox copy of it. And she looked like 2 different people. Somebody else I did this for, and I will send it to you, and maybe I'll see if I can put it on the website. I did it for Edgar Allan Poe, and it will blow your
No,
freaking
I also
mind.
did that from his Wikipedia page, and it's fucking crazy. And one thing that really stands out is how his forehead. And I in no way am impugning Poe. I wouldn't do that. In fact, when I was a kid and I was reading his collected works, I realized that that was the first example I'd had at literary complexity. So, because as a kid, you don't have these preconceived notions, and you'll read something at face value, assuming that you read as a child, which hopefully everybody does. A lot of people don't. But I started to realize that things could be multi-layered and still have inertia and energy to reach a conclusion only by reading his stuff. And then, of course, that carried forward as an adult, to different things. But what a fucking writer! Okay, sorry for my long-winded soliloquy.
Never be sorry. That's what. Hey, it's our show. We can do whatever the hell
I
we
know,
want.
but I'm just saying. I also put the ruler between his hemispheres on his Wikipedia picture, and I was shocked at the way his forehead and eyes are. That's two different people completely.
Now check this out. I have noticed that since even before I read that book, and to me, I can see, and I can't prove this yet, but I think I'll try to get a psychologist on board for that aspect. I believe it's a physical sign of bipolar at the very least.
Well,
Because I'm not a doctor, I can't say that. However, it has been in every single picture. Now I'm going to blow your mind. Hopefully.
Feel free.
Do you know how old Edgar Allan Poe's wife was? He married her.
He married his cousin, right?
Virginia Clem.
Mm-hmm. No, I don't know, but she was 13 or something, right?
13.
Yeah.
I think he was 26.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, but back then, I mean, well,
No, it's not back then. No, that people paid attention to that. They did not like that. It was not cool. Let's put it that way. There was also never a sign that he actually consummated the marriage as well. The only photograph of Virginia Clem was done on her deathbed, and it was just a drawing. Nobody even knows what she looked like.
I wonder if she ever even existed.
No, she existed. Absolutely. Absolutely. I'm probably one of the most well-read,
Sure.
experts on Edgar Allan Poe. Just because. What can I say?
Well, what can you say? The man wrote magic. Whether you're inclined to that style of magic or not, whoever thou might be, he wrote magic on paper. He did do that. I'm not one of his like acolytes or anything by far, but good Lord.
I am.
No, understood. And I'm not saying anything derogatory about that, but what I mean is I'm not like a super fan or anything, but when I read his works, it was sufficiently complex to engage a hyperactive imagination, and there's a lot to be said for that.
Yeah. Guess what sign he was?
Oh God. I mean, seriously, I would have to say Scorpio.
Capricorn.
Ugh. Good Lord.
He brought himself into the conversation. I didn't.
Hey, did they ever find the guy that kept leaving liquor at his grave every year?
No, he died, and then somebody else popped in and started taking over. He was called the Poe Taster.
The Poe Taster?
Poe Taster. Yeah, look him up. He used to leave a rose and I think a glass of cognac on his gravesite in Baltimore, Maryland, for many years. Look it up.
Poe is fucking buried in Baltimore?
Yeah, Baltimore, Maryland.
Why did I think he was buried in England?
You're insane.
Yep. Okay, so he was a local. He's one of us, or you know what I mean by that.
Yeah, no, he's from the United States. He was born in Richmond, Virginia. Died in Baltimore, Maryland, under very suspicious circumstances. Voxx says Poe was murdered.
Yeah, he murdered himself with cirrhosis.
No. He was murdered, and Voxx, the psychic, says Edgar Allan Poe was murdered. You can just quote me. You want to find out how? You want to check out the tarot on this?
Yep. Lay it out.
Hey, you know what? This show is so perfect in the sense that no matter what we talk about, we're always on point, even if we don't even know it. We were talking about Capricorn.
Oh, yeah. We were on Capricorn when this came up.
And you didn't even know he was a Capricorn.
No, I did not. I also didn't know he was American, for that matter.
So you see what I'm saying? It was completely genuine. So let's check out. Question for the Crowley Thoth deck. Was Edgar Allan Poe murdered? Let's pull a card. Or did he just die from alcohol poisoning, sleeping in the freaking snow? Okay. The murder card shows up as the Knight of Swords. That shows me definitely a man, a relatively younger man, but a mature man, had something to do with it. and I feel he would have been strangled or pushed against something and he lost his breath. Now, because of his alcoholism and the bad state of his health in general, I think it made it easier for him to die of something relatively simple with simple force. So him dying on his own showed 6 of Swords. I guarantee he most likely would have had cirrhosis of the liver and a few other things wrong with him, but it does show he was murdered. Now,
Wow, so you pulled all swords for him, huh?
yeah, all sorts. And if I had to say, from my angel to whomever, how accurate is what I'm saying? Got the Emperor card, speak with great authority regarding the tarot and its symbolism in this particular case. So there you go. And he was the inventor of modern crime, the entire genre. So, and so speaking of him, yeah, we're speaking about Capricorns. And check this out. Baltimore, what's the name of their main team?
The Orioles? Oh, the Ravens. It's the Ravens.
Exactly.
Yeah.
See my point?
Oh, is that why they called themselves the Ravens?
Exactly.
Oh, that's fantastic. Somebody would have had to consciously make that decision.
Yeah, now check this out. How much weird stuff do I know and why do I always win Trivial Pursuit?
Beats the shit out of me.
Hey, I'm sitting on a computer, but I'm not typing into Wikipedia. Okay. This is just straight insanity from the top of my head. That's all I can
Trivial
say.
Pursuit, Voxx. I always do very well at the science and history and geography, but every other category, I'm like a fucking Luddite, man. Yeah, anything theater.
I will get it all, and then I'll have a difficulty with sports.
Oh, sports is like it's like my kryptonite. It's like what is a home run? And I'm like, well, is that a hockey team? I don't even watch hockey.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But usually I finally win with just a simple, sports question I might have, buried in my subconscious mind. But notice how we're talking about this flow of, the kryptonite, we will call it, of the different signs.
Do you record with your eyes closed?
Um,
I find myself I didn't notice it, but now that I think about it, I think I've had my eyes closed this entire episode, except for when I had to look up Snowden.
yeah, I pretty much have my eyes closed too, unless I'm looking up something like to my left, the chart. But yeah, my eyes are usually closed, which is when people say, "Hey, Vox, I want to do a Zoom call," and I'm like, "Why?" My lips will move. The eyes will stay closed. Because literally, that's a really great question because I'm constantly having visions.
Yeah, external stimuli isn't useful a lot of the time. Sometimes the internal stimuli is the point. With my eyes closed, I can think better.
Yeah, like look at all the singers whenever they're on stage. 9 out of 10 of them will keep their eyes closed constantly.
It makes sure blind people are just like latently better musicians. Okay, so Mozart was what? Deaf and...
It was Aquarius. Mozart was not deaf. That was Beethoven.
Beethoven. Okay, my fault. But Beethoven was deaf and mute, right?
No, not at all. They found out recently that Beethoven really suffered from severely impacted earwax.
Oh, yeah.
Not a joke.
Yeah.
And check this out. That makes a lot of sense because he could still feel the vibrations of the tones when he was composing. He could feel
which
it.
you can. When I tuned my bass, I did it by vibration. Granted, it was harmonic tuning, like that's how I would tune, but I would feel it, and when I felt it matched, I knew. Like you could feel I don't know what the words are when the harmonics are. Oh God!
Yeah, in tune. They resonate.
They resonate. Thank you. It's the resonate thing, where they reach the same frequency, but that's definitely a feeling thing more than a sound thing.
Yeah, I agree. But yeah.
So how the fuck do you tune a piano?
I never tuned a piano. There were piano tuners.
Right. It's like its own career path.
Oh yeah, it is. Absolutely is. And not for anything, he also knew the inner keyboard. So he was adept at ear training and all this stuff. He knew exactly what intervals and chords, what they would sound like when he could hear them.
Yeah, he could. Yeah, he visualized it. It's interesting because when you study theory, and I'm sure you've been through this, but I had to do it at a place called the Harrison School of Music, long time ago in a different life, and we studied theory on a visual keyboard, right? Even though we don't play, like I never played piano. One of my regrets in life, I know that you do, and I know you do it brilliantly, despite the size of your hands. I have no idea how you fucking do that. No, I mean, like there's a couple of mysteries of the world. Like, is there a Bigfoot? How does Voxx do a 2-octave spread with a 2-inch grip. Like how the fuck does that work? I don't understand it. I've seen it though.
I can play a major ninth. Okay.
Yeah, no, I
hands stopped growing. I think I was like 9 years old. I've got little baby feet. It's really funny.
Yeah, you've got the worst pimp hand. It's just like a little pat on the ear. By the way, speaking of Bigfoot, my brother Josh would like to have an episode where we talk about American folklore, superstition, aliens, Egyptians, and Sasquatch, which I think is the best premise for a To the Moon with Voxx episode, because I'm personally, I don't subscribe to that shit, but I love talking about it.
Well, here's my thing. I believe in anything, absolutely anything, but if I analyze it astrologically and psychically and or with tarot, and I find that there's some kind of boundary with it, or there's something that's untrue about it,
sure,
I will say no.
Sure, as you should, as is your obligation, I would imagine, as any type of spiritual advisor. But these talk, like, regarding the Bigfoot thing, first of all, let me go on the record as saying this, because Josh wants to come on and talk about it. Well, he wants to hear what you have to say about it while he presents his opinion of it.
Let's do it.
Oh, absolutely. He's hysterical too. So as far as being a character where the communication would flow freely, he's definitely that type of dude. But he's into shit that I don't brook any even. I think I'm on board with you where I'm willing to believe that anything is true until disproven. I think that's the difference between maybe an optimist and a pessimist. Although I might be being a bit reductive here. But you know what I mean? Like, maybe it's true, but is there any proof at all? You know, is there?
Well, here's the cool part about what we can do. And I had, for a little while, I had a show called Strange Earth. And we could use that as an episode wherein, you know, people posited all these different questions and I answered them psychically and through the tarot. Now, the thing about the tarot, if you really don't know what you're doing, please don't use them. Please just call me and take a class so you can.
That's why I literally won't draw a card from a deck, because my brain will go, but I want to add something. And there's this whole cliche, which absence of proof is not proof of absence. And it's worth considering, right? As far as there being an 8 foot tall, a hairy mammal running around the Pacific Northwest, you know, and I feel like it's so ridiculous in concept that in an age where I've seen Persian's license plates from a satellite picture and I can see the numbers on them, I've seen this, that how would we not then have the same type of, you know, observation capabilities over the Pacific Northwest? But conveniently, the Sasquatch legend, I love how we're talking about Sasquatch, by the way. The Sasquatch legend, of course, it's in a forested area that nobody can directly observe. Of fucking course it is.
Oh, yeah.
You know, but it's so cliche, I can't believe it.
Well, we're gonna have him on and we're gonna check these theories out with the tarot and astrology. We'll check it out in Voxx style. Now, here's the cool thing that I can say. I've been reading people professionally for pretty much my entire life, even since I was about 7. That doesn't mean the readings were any good. But I've had people coming back for the last 35 years, you know, saying they found their cassette tape underneath the refrigerator, and like 100% of everything I told them actually happened. I don't believe that, but they are the ones who are telling me. And let's get real. You know, I'm not the cheapest person in the world, and you know, to have certain consultations is going to cost you something. So the deal is, why am I going to sit there and waste somebody's time with nonsense? I'm just not going to do it.
Yeah,
it's an investment. I don't do readings for entertainment. I talk online or in a podcast with entertainment in the back of my mind, but the forefront is like dedicated to like, all right, I need to look at this analytically through a psychic lens. Sure. So when people have called me back and said, these things actually happened, and I'm like, whoa.
Well, at some point, the validation yeah, really. But at some point, the validation is not even necessary. Not that the client would know that, but you can only be proven right so many times before even you quit doubting, you know.
Praise God, always knock on wood. But here's the deal. The evidence will show that an inordinate amount of people have agreed with the most insane things I've ever said. Just completely ridiculous. Stuff that I can't even believe that has happened to them. And so therefore, it's making me feel like, maybe I have some license to give an opinion about it, but
Sure.
nowhere am I going to try to shoot down somebody's delusion. I'll let you do that for yourself. I'm not trying to force people into
Sure.
believing anything I have to say. Just as I always even tell a client, I tell literally clients, do not believe a word I say. Take it all under consideration.
Yeah.
When and if it means something to you, may the information I gave you bless and benefit you and lead you to the right conclusion.
Sure.
That really is my prayer. Lord, I never ask for money. I don't burn candles. I don't do witchcraft for money. I just say, Lord, let me be accurate so these people can figure out what's going on.
Yeah. That's your role.
That's it. Everything else I do is for myself. My writing, my poetry, my music, all that stuff. I've never done anything for money.
Well,
Just
no,
don't.
money's not the motivator. Hell, I've known you my entire life. You've never been motivated.
Zero.
No,
Zero.
it's more of I think in line with what you're actually saying right now. It's hard to put my finger on it, but it's something like taking pride in knowing that you're able to do something so important so accurately.
Yeah, always. Yeah. Praise God. I always say that. In case God doesn't even exist, I'm still going to praise him.
Hey, Pascal's wager. We all know about Pascal's wager.
And I've heard of it, but I didn't know what it was. So tell me what it is.
So Pascal, famous. Oh, I think I may have brought this up on the show before.
Well, I know who he is.
Yeah, 16th or 17th century French philosopher, famously atheist at a time where that was the death sentence for you. And he was so respected in his own circles that he never received the guillotine at the time. But on his deathbed, he called in a priest, and people were like, "What?" And he converted to Catholicism at the time.
Touche.
On his deathbed, and I guess he was asked, like, why, what's going on with that? Like, why are you doing that? He said, just in case I'm wrong.
Correct. And guess who else did that?
Who?
The famous occult, bizarre writer, J.K. Heisman's, George Carlos Heisman's, who wrote some of the most insidious literature of the time, satanic literature, really crazy stuff. And also Oscar Wilde.
Yeah, that wouldn't surprise me about Oscar Wilde, though.
Yeah, again, Pascal's wager. I didn't know that's what that was. I've heard of it,
Mhm.
didn't technically know what it was.
Yeah, there's a Wikipedia article on it. I want to mention something about Oscar Wilde. For people who haven't looked into this character over the course of human history, I would argue, and I think successfully, that of the top 10 or 15 literary figures that have ever been born, he should be considered as one of them. A fascinatingly complex man, excuse me.
Yeah.
And was
guess
he
what?
not a Satanist?
No. He was homosexual.
Well, I know he was homosexual, but
That was it. At the time, it was considered right up there with Satanism.
okay, maybe that's the
Right up
energy that
there.
I'm remembering then, because he was definitely
Yeah.
persecuted on a grand scale.
Yeah,
So,
and other people mistakenly considered to be Satanists. Try not to laugh. Aleister Crowley was not a Satanist.
I wish the world would understand what you just said.
Yeah, if he was, I would say it. I've read everything he's ever written. I know every freaking detail. And by the way, same thing with Oscar Wilde, Edgar Allan Poe. I have read their entire encyclopedic works, including Aleister Crowley. And I'm telling you, if they were, I would just say it. They were.
I want to say that seems to be, and he's probably laughing right now, a bit of a comical thing that he pulled on the world was convincing them that due to his love of earthly pleasures, that he would somehow be affiliated with the Son of Earth. That's not true.
Yeah. No, it's
It's not
absolutely
true.
not true.
This is called a man who takes every aspect under consideration. And
More than almost anything, Crowley wanted to be famous. Just
oh,
did.
really? It was that facile?
Yeah, he just wanted to be famous, and he wanted to get laid, and he wanted to sleep with whomever he wanted to, and he wanted to worship gods the way he wanted to.
You can't fault the man.
And he published everything himself from his own $1 million bank account.
Fucking crazy.
He never pulled the wool over anybody's eyes.
I have a deep, deep love for this character of history, and he should be regarded as one of the more influential people in history as well, especially from a spiritual standpoint. How deeply he's similar to you in this regard, where okay, I have no fear bringing you into a situation with a Christian, with a Muslim, with any religion, because I understand implicitly that you've read about enough to speak intelligently about something without hubris. And this is 100% fucking true. Remember when I was getting married, and we're all over at BJ's, and you're talking with Jen and Matt, and they're just devout evangelical Christians, devout. And Jen goes, "So you're into astrology, huh?" Because that's how Jen is, you know what I mean? So you're into astrology, huh? And you're like, yeah, even the wise men followed a star. You didn't skip a beat. And it diffused the whole thing. So in other words, I didn't have to worry about this or warn you about how she was. I know you well enough to know exactly what's going to happen if that question comes up
That
on
was
some
so good.
level. And you're right. And she was like, well, I guess they did. I guess they did.
He
That's
shot
yeah.
that plane out of the sky.
Oh man, I loved it. So that's one of my favorite Voxx memories. I have a number of them, but that one because I'm paying attention to the ebb and flow of the conversation as well. Something I do,
Right?
and there was not even a heartbeat difference between her saying that sentence, which was meant to bait you a little bit. I love
Right.
Jen; she's wonderful, but uh, that was a baiting sentence, and you were like, fielded, no problem. It's so hysterical. So
Well, I'm glad for that response, man, because the thing is, there's no need to belittle any beliefs that
mm-mm.
anyone has.
I'm
If
convinced
they
that everybody is right on some level, not wrong.
also Crowley, even though he says that he channeled Iwas to write the Book of the Law, one of the chapters in there is that all prophets are true, save that they know only a little. Meaning, hey, the garbage man's got some wisdom. Maybe you figure something out from him too.
Sure.
Don't circumscribe your ability to gain wisdom from the smallest thing. That's one of the great gifts of all of the wonderful spiritual poets, like the Sufi poets, like people like Rumi. Like he'll make you think about some innocuous, mundane thing, and it will transport you to some elevated spiritual viewpoint. And it's like, oh my God, I never saw that before. So you can see the divine in the smallest event or statement or reality.
Sure.
And all of this conversation was spurred by us talking about Capricorn. And it does rule the 10th house. It rules fame, recognition, reputation. And all the people that we're just talking about right now, some of them Capricorn, like Edgar Allan Poe and Crowley and Wilde, who were both Libras, not surprising. People that try to bring awareness to different ways and different values of life. Not because they were better or worse, but just, oh, here's some more stuff. Check this out. You
Yeah.
know? Now, getting into Aquarian territory. Okay, Aquarius is ruled by Uranus, and that's how you are supposed to say it. We're really tired of the stupid jokes. Get original already. And Uranus rules quantum events, quantum energy, things that happen instantly. Like, let's think about the planet and the element, uranium. Okay, you think that's an accident? The discovery of uranium was one of the key moments that they were able to create the atomic bomb, which ended World War II, which saved my father's life, which enabled me to get born and for you to get born. So there's something cosmic about that uranium energy, and it can completely destroy, like Shiva, or it can completely accelerate or create in some way. So their whole thing is, again, like the higher level of Gemini. They don't like to get, cornered. They have to be completely free to do whatever they say, think, and feel. So when we talk about the age of Aquarius, technically it was meant to be an age of freedom. But what happened, there was so much freedom, anybody could do anything, and then everything's off the rails. People are out there shooting each other. People out there pretending that they can cure COVID with, cough drops. I mean, anything goes. And like it's complete lawlessness under the banner of quote unquote freedom. When you have, again, trying not to, but have to, talking about anti-vaccinations where people want the freedom to get sick and die.
Right.
Okay, you know what? Maybe it is a conspiracy, but guess what? We're not in the catbird seat. We're not in the lucky spot to be able to tell if
Sure.
that's completely safe or not. And I'm one of the world's great psychics. Praise God, knock on wood. When I say that, I mean accurate. So if I can't even be for sure, I'm not going to take that risk. And I'm not going to let my clients or my friends take that risk either. It's just better to be safe.
Well, I mean, regardless of where you stand on the vaccination issue, my positions have been made penultimately clear, and I stand by it. But with that being said, there's still no reason not to take it. There are
Yeah.
plenty of reasons to take it. It's not nanobots that are going to convert you into a fucking US government death soldier. That's not what the
No.
fuck this is. It's a legitimate gene therapy that will help you. So, regardless of where you stand on the effectiveness of it, the bottom line is there's no reason not to do it. And there are plenty of reasons to do it. There's a calculus at play here that people should respect. So, I don't appreciate the anti vaxxer standpoint of this is all a big conspiracy and there's nothing to it. I dispute that.
It's all in the name of some idea that they have of freedom.
Well, and here's the problem that you have is you can't reason somebody out of a position they didn't reason themselves into. You have to take a different tactic. And so,
Exactly.
right? Isn't that true? So if you
I
have an
I agree.
right, if you have an unreasonable position, I won't be able to use reason to get you out of it. That's more likely than not. I would have to
Mhm.
appeal to your irrational side to fucking snap you out of whatever framework that you're hopelessly entrenched in. And so for me, I don't buy, well, and I believe I'm factual here. I don't believe that this is a vaccine by the classical definition of the word. But with that
I
being said,
agree.
it's absolute therapy. It's absolutely effective at what they're saying it's effective of. If you read the literature, which tells you that is to ameliorate the symptoms associated with
Exactly.
COVID.
And most problem is the people are not reading information that is reliable. And so therefore, on that level, I mean, it's like if people thought that by getting a vaccination for polio or let's just say a shot, you know, sure, you're free to die, but the problem is there's too many people on the planet now. We can't take that risk. We just can't take it.
Well, and in addition to, I don't want to pull apart your point too much, but using polio,
Yeah.
in my opinion, is a very, very, very bad example.
Like I say, I'm talking about getting a shot that's hopefully going to prevent something in some way, shape, or
Well,
form.
but that's what a vaccine would do. That's not what's going to happen if you take one of these vaccines right now. It's not preventing anything. But as far as polio was a legitimate vaccine, it
Yeah.
prevented it. And hell, as far as I can tell, it cured it, didn't it? Or, I mean, what I mean is
No, it did. It did for a time, but now, no, it did for a time, but the problem is the herd immunity's like lessening because more and more people are not availing themselves of getting the vaccine.
right, they are, and I'm saying this very sarcastically, availing themselves of the freedom to not do something that important. And it's a ridiculous
Exactly.
position to take. Regardless of what you think about it, there has to be an internal calculus of are there reasons not to do it that are true? Remember, honesty is
Mhm.
important here. And are there reasons to do it that are true? That's the calculus, regardless of whatever fucking side that you fall on, whether you're left or right. And the government, it's a big conspiracy. It's not really a vaccine, which is my position. Regardless of that, I cannot deny, if I'm being an objective assessor of the situation, that it does more good than it does harm. And at that point, as a human being, if you have your longevity in mind, you should take that.
Yeah, because here's the deal. Ultimately, the variants are going to just literally take up the entire Greek
Well,
alphabet.
there's a theoretical infinite amount of variants, right? The flu will
Yeah,
mutate.
exactly. But like as I'm saying right now, I told some very close friends who are, producers, and these are people who are just calling me up for all kinds of stuff, and thousands worth of hours of me telling them, oh yeah, wait till this variant happens. Oh, wait till this variant happens. And they all just laid right down there. It's like, okay, now what? But the main thing is just to protect ourselves so that we can live a long time.
Well, and be socially responsible. There's
Yeah.
something to be said about this. We are in a society, and I know this is very cliche for me to say, but we're in a society. You have an obligation to the people around you to, do what you can to avoid spreading this type of thing.
I agree. So let's just, for the heck of it, pull a card before we go into Pisces, our
Okay.
favorite. The card that came out was the Eight of Wands. Not only should you get the shot, you should do it yesterday. Whoever's listening to this, hopefully by now people can see that we just fly by the seat of our pants. We know what we're talking about, but the way in which we're delivering it is completely free form, and there's no time, energy, or thought to editing it up front. We just speak as we feel and as the need dictates. But the Eight of Wands is saying, hurry the freak up. Just hurry up. Now, moving on, the Pisces, which we kind of already did talk about. But the Pisces, since it's already just kind of drowning in its own sorrow, the one thing they can't stand is somebody telling them, "Oh, snap out of it."
I just snapped into it. What are you talking about?
Get a grip on which tentacle. What?
Well, it's funny because I think Piscean energy will tell you, I don't have a problem. I have a solution,
Yeah.
you know?
Oh, we're not. Oh, trust me, you're gonna love this one. And I just went through this with a client. Addicts, it's not about drugs. They just want to take the drug they want to take, not necessarily the one that's going to fix the problem. It's like,
Oh,
no, I'll
yeah.
deal with the drugs, but just not those ones. Not the ones that I need, just the ones that
Yeah.
I like.
An alcoholic won't take an Advil for a headache, for example. I don't want to put that in my body.
Oh, exactly. Who knows where it's been? It's another governmental conspiracy, but the heroin is fine because I like the Afghans.
Right.
What?
And you'll say some nonsense like, at least heroin's natural. Well, yeah, I mean, that is technically true.
Guess what? Let's think about this. We're on a planet. There are things that come out of this planet that are natural, but guess what? Synthetics are also natural because they're combinations of things that used to be natural. So there is some level of naturalness to even a synthetic because all things come from this earth that we're standing on.
There's definitely a fallacy here, and I can't put I can't put my finger on it, but there's a bit of a fallacy here, right, Vox?
Of
Because
course, of course.
yeah, I wish, God, I wish I was more intelligent sometimes, because somehow what you just said, while I agree with it in principle, means that plastics, which are derived from hydrocarbons, right?
Right?
That's looking at a pair of plastic glasses and saying that's 100% organic and natural, right? And it's like, it's so patently false and yet patently true if you drill down to a deep enough level. Right.
Exactly.
There's nothing made under the sun that wasn't made from what was already here in
That's right.
nature. Nobody
That's
created.
what I'm talking about.
Yeah, no, I get what you're saying, but still,
Yeah, I'm manipulating it, but it's still true.
it is true at a
If you're
certain
on
level.
listen, if you're on planet Earth, anything you're eating or putting onto your body comes from planet Earth.
I get it.
Planet Earth is a being, has lots of different chemicals. However, those chemicals are recombined and manipulated. They are still coming from some level of natural.
Well, on the individual component level, they are, but as far as
That's what I'm talking about. That is what, yeah, that's my essence of what I'm saying.
but as far as combining those individual natural components into an unnatural component, that's where the demarcating line is. Like methamphetamine doesn't exist in nature.
Let's don't say it's unnatural. The synthesis means that various particular building blocks are synthesized in a natural way, in a way in which they were not found originally. So on that level, synthetic, syn meaning combining, S-Y-N. So yeah, we agree, but for different reasons. Now let's just check this out. Is there anything that's really not of this earth? Let's just see what it says. The High Magician. Everything that's here was here. Whatever we're doing with it, we can call it whatever we want. But that's basically backing up my point.
Well,
I completely understand what you're saying. I completely get it.
oh no, and I understand what you're saying. I was just bringing up the counterpoint. But with all that being said, and I know that this is the most cliche thing I could possibly say in this moment, but mitochondria is not from this planet. Everything organic on this planet, everything organic, right? Or excuse me,
Mhm.
all life that is organic. Well, I guess all life is organic. We share DNA with, like we have a 97 or 98% DNA genetic match with the fruit fly. And paradoxically, the fruit fly has the longest genome in the animal kingdom.
Isn't
The
that
most,
amazing?
isn't that crazy? And we share like 98% of it, right? And I guess 2% gives us thumbs, mathematics, and Copernicus.
Yeah. And Beelzebub.
But that's the thing, mitochondria, and also I don't think octopi. I don't think
No, they're
it's
not.
called
No,
octopodes.
no, it's octopi,
No,
technically,
it's podes.
collectively. But yeah, as the genus or the species, yes, you're correct.
Right, they're completely, and I think cuttlefish as well. But they share DNA with nothing. And then I
Yeah,
remember that old cliche: mitochondria is the powerhouse of the cell. Well, yeah, we
yeah.
fucking get it, but how did it get there?
Let's find out.
It's the most fundamental thing. It literally does it not
Right.
facilitate ATP which
Yeah.
cellular respiration, which facilitates cellular multiplication, which is how life began and grew and evolved to begin with. And they're not even from here.
Let's chat. Let's see the tarot version.
Yeah, I'm definitely curious.
How would you posit that question?
I would ask, oh, geez, how would you even approach it?
We can ask a couple of different ways.
Well, I would argue, or not argue, but I guess I would ask, are there any truly, no, you got to be careful with how you word the question.
Are there any species that are truly not from this earth? DNA or mitochondria? Or where is the essence of the original cause of mitochondria?
Panspermia, man.
Yeah, well, we know where that came from.
I just realized. Old Pan's at it again.
That's exactly what it means.
Just winging around his cosmic dong. And just, I love how Pan has like a 12-foot penis. It just.
Well, you know, what can one say about that? So let's check out what's a good question. Like where do octopoids come from? What's their original home base? How's that?
Yeah, let's go for that.
Let's just check out what it might say. The original home of octopoids.
Poet.
Whoa, dude, the high priestess.
What's going on?
Wow. It's very lunar, and we know that's not technically true because the moon is just an asteroid.
Excuse me, but the moon collided with the Earth, or something collided with the Earth and created the moon.
The moon did collide with the Earth, but this is saying that there were whatever microbes or life that was on the moon that got generated from the waters of the Earth whenever it collided. Because it does seem as if there was an ocean already on Earth when that collision happened.
Sure, I could see that.
So that, and guess what the next card is? Lust.
Oh, great. Here we go.
Totally. Yeah, that there's some. Now, let me tell you something interesting straight out of the Bible. Okay. In the Bible, in Genesis, it talks about the Nephilim. The Nephilim were these huge giant creatures that came to Earth, and literally in the Bible it says mated with the daughters of Earth. The daughters meaning passive, getting like soaking up whatever that genetic material is that's male, like that's male from panspermia. And literally the lust card has this huge uterus on it that's being impregnated. I mean, on the Thoth deck, it's unbelievable. So whatever that is, it doesn't look like it came from our Earth. It just doesn't. And let's see what the accuracy of that is. The Two of Cups, that's a blend of something, the moon or something like that collided with Earth that created this combination effect.
Yeah, that wouldn't surprise me at all to hear it. And would have been, eons ago, right? Billions of years ago.
Priestess with the Lust card and the Two of Cups is the final card. So when I'm asking how accurate is what I'm saying, it's like there was a combination of forces that created that. And we're asking about the essence of the origin of the octopoids. And that's just crazy. Oh, something else, you're going to love this. They just recently did a research where they found out that the first life forms on Earth were fungi, were giant spores and mushrooms. And this goes straight back to H.P. Lovecraft when he talks about the fungi from Yuggoth. Every single day, there's some kind of discovery that says that H.P. Lovecraft was on it. He was like on it. And there's this little guy, basically atheist, living in a tiny little room with really strange cephalopods and octopoids, inhabiting his subconscious mind, tripping out and saying stuff that, decades later has turned out to actually be true. It's blowing my mind.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. There's no coincidence that Cthulhu has the proverbial octopi tentacle mouth. Right?
It's just weird.
Yeah.
It's weird. So in the final card on that was the art card, which is a really great card for alchemy, in particular sexual alchemy.
Which is reproductive, right?
Exactly. Every single card I pulled on that, every single card was in the same vein. So at some point, I have no doubt, just like about a month ago, we predicted on the show via the tarot that Einstein would be proven on his theory about black holes. And like last week, they discovered that it was true.
Yeah.
You had a bunch of crazy people on a psychic radio show. Are like, oh yeah, he was right.
Yeah. It's crazy it took this long to find out because, and he was going with, like, he set the precedent. He wasn't going off anything. This is his and his alone, right? I'm not sure what
No, it is
giants.
his alone.
That's what
It
I'm
is
saying.
his
He had to
alone.
infer it mathematically. It's not like he could see it.
Oh man, I wish somebody would tutor me in math so I could make, some kind of, theories, mathematical theories about some of the more insane things that I have said.
I'm with you on that. But Vox, the crows are calling.
Well, I guess that's it for now. So thanks for listening to another episode of To the Moon with Vox. I'd like to thank my new patrons and check us out at patreon.com/VoxMagic. That's VOXXMAGICK. Also visit our social media by looking at vox.org/contact. And if you have any questions or comments, give us a call at 307-212-8239. You can also write to us at To the Moon with Vox. That's VOXX @gmail.com. Until next time, have a mystical, magical day.